Hi, I'm Carla, the Crazy Cross Stitch Lady. Welcome to my craft room. We are continuing this series and we'll be wrapping it up pretty soon. This is how to follow a cross stitch pattern. I am using a simple little cupcake pattern. This was put on the, I think it's the Caterpillar Cross Stitch website, and it's a free pattern. So you can download that if you would like to. Anyone can get that. It's just a little free pattern, so that's why I'm able to show it on here. So this is where we got to last time. Hopefully my voice doesn't sound really odd to you because I have been battling sinus infections like you wouldn't believe. I went for over a year and a half, and I guess wearing my mask all the time may have helped some because I didn't get sick at all. Normally I have at least 1 or 2 sinus infections a year and didn't have any. And I thought, wow, this is awesome. Well, now that things are approaching more of a normal way of doing things, I got a sinus infection a couple of weeks ago, and then I got through that, and then after another couple of weeks, we're thinking it's probably not a sinus infection, but allergies just have really kicked in, and I've been very congested, so it has been a roller coaster of a ride. I'm feeling fine, except it's just been difficult for me to breathe, and so I've been taking some medicine for that. It's getting better. It's just taking a long time. But I thought I feel well enough. I thought I would go ahead and do one of these for you, and I think my voice sounds fairly okay. It may be a little bit congested, but just to let you know what's going on in case you're like, she doesn't sound quite the same. So anyway, last time I remember I was talking to you about the benefits of cross stitch, and this also was courtesy of CaterpillarCrossStitch.com. And so I thought I would continue that list as we're working on this. We are on the bottom part of the cupcake, and if we look at the pattern, then we are right here. I've highlighted everything that we've done. We've done the icing, we've done part of the cupcake, and now we are just working on the rest of this bottom part. And the easiest way I found, since this is more than one row, I'm just going to go across and I'm just going to skip over these and then keep coming back over, because you're not skipping over that many blocks, and so you're not really trailing your thread that far. So I'm going to do that, and we're going to work on this brown and work on getting this brown finished. I did bring my water with me. Lovely, lovely water. I'll show you my water here because I am so dry right now. I think I just cannot stay hydrated. And if you have ever been congested like this or even had a sinus infection, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, we will do the best that we can, but I thought I would go ahead and do one of these videos for you because we're going to try to get this finished up. If you have ideas for tutorials for me, if there are any certain tutorials that you would like to see, then just leave a comment for me and I will be happy to take a look at your suggestions. I'm certainly not the be-all and end-all of cross-stitchers. There are others who know plenty more than I do, but I will do the best I can either to give you the information or I will find where you can get the information. So I'll be happy to do that for you. Okay, so continuing with our pattern here, we are on this right side, and so we're going to start here. And so I've got 4, so and it lines up with this one here. So as far as benefits of cross stitch, one is that just it keeps your hands and fingers flexible, because you are constantly moving your hands and fingers around. That would be a logical benefit of cross stitch, is that you are always having, and you have to, it's intricate work. It's not like if you're doing, well, woodworking can be intricate work because I have friends who do woodworking, but this is very, it's small hand work, it's intricate work, which is the very reason why some people, it's not that they can't do it, they don't want to do it. And so this, you know, I think it just really gives us good practice in being able to manipulate small things. And I feel like I'm just rocking this camera all over the place. I hope I'm not. I'll try not to. Okay, so there's that. And then it gives you a sense of achievement. I mean, look at how much we've gotten done on this, and it looks really, it's just a cute little cupcake. So we've made a lot of progress on this just over a short amount of time if you add all the videos up together. Now, it's taken me longer over time because I've spread it out, but if you watched them back to back, you know, and I'm a slow stitcher, so really not that long. Okay, we're going to skip over 2 and do 1 and skip over 1. So we're going to skip over these 2, which would be these 2 right here, and then do 1. So if I can find my needle there. So we're going to do this 1. And you'll notice as you're using different threads, even if it's from the same brand, some, depending on what color it is, and I don't know if it's the dye that does this, but some flosses will be easier to railroad where your stitches lie flat than others. Some will even tangle a little bit easier than others. Okay, so we're going to skip 1 and do 2. So I'm going to skip 1, and then this will be my next one. That was one of the first things I noticed I found really interesting. Was like, these colors don't all work the same way. You know, not all colors are created equal. But about that sense of achievement, one of the pieces of advice that I will give you, if you decide that you want to do full coverage, because there are just so many more options out there as far as patterns go than there used to be. Even back in the 80s, it was a limited number of options that you had when it came to patterns. So now there are just so many out there, and they're absolutely beautiful. A lot of full coverage, which means that your whole fabric, of course, is going to be covered. Full coverage takes a long time. Okay, we're going to skip 1 and do 1. And so when you are doing a full coverage, that's a commitment. Now, doesn't mean if you decide you really don't like it, you don't want to keep doing that, because again, this is supposed to be a hobby that you enjoy. But even if you really enjoy it, you're going to get tired of it occasionally, like I have with my Michael Jackson one, and it is a commitment. But you want to have at least 1 or 2 either smaller projects like this, like you're doing Christmas ornaments or cards, or you can do bookmarks, little things like that that are really pretty and fun to do, but it gives you a little bit of a break and gives you something else to do. So you want to do something like that, or even if it's a larger project, it's easier to do. It's like you have large blocks of the same color. You don't have to do as much thinking. It's just a lot easier. Okay, so we've gotten this one done. Now we're going to skip 2, and we're going to do these last 4. So you just want to keep that in mind, and that way when you are working on larger projects that take a long time, and it's sometimes when you're in the middle of it, it's really hard to see progress. You might get a lot of stitches done, but because the project is so large, it doesn't feel like you've gotten a lot done. So you just want to be able to work on things like this where, and I'm sorry, I'm shaking the camera, where you can feel like you have actually, let's see, let me put my foot down on the table leg itself, so we'll see if it'll stay put. Where you feel like you have actually gotten something done, where you can see it so much easier. So that's just what you want to keep in mind, because if you don't feel any sense of achievement and you feel like you're stitching and stitching and stitching and nothing's getting completed, then it may be a very frustrating process. And one thing you don't want to allow yourself to do is to get frustrated, because it's just not even worth it then. I'm sorry, looks like I'm having some camera issues. I don't know if I didn't stabilize it enough or what. So hopefully you're not seeing it shake like I think it's shaking. I'm trying to keep this pretty steady. Not always the easiest to do through the camera. Okay, so there's that row. So I'm going to stop and let's color this in. I think my highlighter is starting to give out on me, so we'll see if we can get it through the rest of this project. Okay, there we go. All right, next row we're going to do the same thing. We're going to skip over the black part and just continue with the brown. When Caterpillar Cross Stitch was doing her list, she actually cited a source, and the source is the Royal United Hospital of Bath. This would be in England. Okay, let's see where we are before I continue with my jabbering there. Okay, so we're going to come in 1 and we're going to do 3. Okay, so on here I'm going to come in 1, which means I'm going to start right there. Okay, and then I'm going to do 3. But anyway, this hospital concluded, and I think this is really cool, that cross stitch has, get this, has a neurochemical effect on the brain by decreasing the stress hormones. So not only can we say, well, you know, it's a stress reliever for me, which it is. It's a stress reliever for many of us, but we now apparently have the science to back that up, which is really cool, because you know, I like the human part of it, but I'm also all about the science too. Having scientific studies and seeing what they say. It's very interesting. And yeah, my camera, I think I just didn't get it connected to the tape well enough. It's still a learning process. Getting better, but still a learning process. Okay, so I've got those 3. So now I'm going to skip 2 and do these 2. So I see a pattern here. So I'm going to show you a little trick that I do, that probably a lot of stitchers do, although I've never, to this point, I've never heard anyone actually go through it and say, this is what I do, because it sounds weird. But if I see kind of a pattern, and of course, if I don't remember it, I can always look back at my pattern. But just so I can keep stitching and not keep looking at my pattern, since I've gotten these 3, in my head, it's like, okay, I'm going to skip 2 and do 2, skip 2, do 2, skip 2, and do 3. So I just think like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. And I know the first one's skipping, so 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. And that's just kind of how I do it. And it keeps my brain active because I'm trying to remember those numbers. So I am going to skip 2. Okay. So skip those 2 and do 2. So I just thought that was very interesting that somebody had actually done research, like scientific research on the benefits of cross stitch. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome, which just, you know, confirms to me that we are doing good work. We are helping our brains. And you know, the thing is, even if you don't cross stitch or you don't cross stitch that much, you can learn just from watching. You can get enjoyment and stress relief just from watching. I like to watch other people working with crafts that normally, so I'm going to skip 2 and do 2, like woodworking and that kind of thing. And I also like to watch Forged in Fire, if you're familiar with that show, where they have metal smithers. Is that a word? I don't think so. Metal smiths. They have People who work with knives and swords. How's it? They make knives and swords. Yeah, I'm really showing my intelligence here. But anyway, just watching them work and think and figure things out, even though I don't do any of that kind of stuff, I just find it really interesting to watch. So even if you don't stitch a day in your life, if watching this is fascinating to you, more power to you. I think it's awesome. Okay, I feel a little bit uncomfortable with going on with my thread, so I'm going to go ahead and run my needle. And there we go, and just run it through. And even if I've got it flipped over like this, see, here's the magnet that goes on the back of my needle minder. So if I'm ready to, I just don't want to flip it to the front, I can do that too. All right, where are my scissors? It's like, where's my stuff? And clip it close. You notice the whole time, let me turn this around for a minute. Okay, so I've been clipping it very close on here. Okay, so we can see how neat the back is. And I've been doing full crosses as we go, whereas some people will do like the left leg and they'll go across and then they'll come back doing the right leg. And yeah, you can do that. There's absolutely no problem with doing that, as long as whatever you decide to do, that's what you do, and you are consistently doing it that way. So I always like to do full crosses because I get more pleasure out of it. I enjoy it more. And so that's why my back looks this way, and it looks pretty neat. And no, I don't normally care what the back looks like. I try to keep it fairly neat so that all of the threads, once you get these threads on here, they don't get so thick that you can't, that it's hard to frame or you can't get your needle through. That's where the concern would be. But here's the important part that I want you to look at. You don't see any like stray threads trailing out here. That's where you can get into some issues, because if you start stitching again, sometimes those threads, when you pull the one thread that you're working with, when you pull it back through to the front, sometimes you can take stray ones and they'll go with you, and that makes a mess. So make sure that you're going under at least 4. I go under 4 or 5 existing threads here and pull it through, snip it close. It's not going to come unraveled. It's going to stay put, but it's going to be a much neater back that's going to be a whole lot easier to work with. Okay, so I'm going to rethread my needle. Actually, let me do, yeah, since I'm not done with this row. At first, I thought for a second I was done with it, but I've still got that little bit to go. So let's rethread. There we go. And I have to do this off camera, and then it's just hard because I have bifocals, but then I have to take them off so I can see. Do any of you have bifocals where you have to take them off so you can see? Oh my goodness. I tell you what, the struggles that you have after you're 40. If anyone's told you beware when you're 40, yeah, they're not lying. So just saying, just letting you know. Okay, so get this threaded and we will be good to go. Okay, we're ready. So we are going to do the last 3 here, and they start like you skip 2 and then you do 3, or you can line it up with this one here, which means that it starts, well, maybe, okay, right there. All right, flip that baby over. There's my loop. Now, I will tell you also that I have seen people do the loop start where they have the loop in the front. Doesn't matter, whichever way you want to do it. I prefer to do it from the back. You want to do it from the front. If it's easier for you, do it from the front. Again, it's all about consistency. Whatever you decide to do, however you decide to do it, just do it the same way so it doesn't look, haphazard. Heaven knows we don't want haphazard cross stitching. Can't have no haphazard cross stitching. Okay, and get these last 3, and then we'll be done with that row. Okay, I'll show you something. Let's get really close here. Okay, so this, I didn't get exactly in the hole. It's like one tiny little thread. It got in there and got caught. That doesn't matter. If you're really picky about stuff like that, if it just really, really bothers you, then you can just pull the one thread out and put it through again. It's going to be hidden after I come back through again, so I'm not really worried about it. But I know some people get caught up in that, so I just wanted to point that out to you. And some of you may have thought, what are you talking about? I don't even see anything. So that's how much people are not going to notice it. Okay, so there's that row. Okay, so get that. And, okay. Now, take a sip of water. Yeah, I just cannot stay hydrated right now. So I feel like if somebody set me down in front of the ocean, the world would look very different in like 5 minutes. I would have the whole ocean gone. Okay. All right, so we're going to start right below there, and we're going all the way across, and we're just starting under where the last stitch was and meeting the next stitch, so that'll be easy enough to keep up with. Okay, so finish off that stitch. Okay, so another thing, let's see. Oh, I didn't even finish that part. It said, okay, so it decreases, let's see, they said it has a neurochemical effect on the brain because it decreases stress hormones, and then I didn't even finish my thought, and I thought I had. And not only that, but increasing serotonin, which we know is the feel-good chemical, and also increases dopamine. I think I would have to ask my husband just to make sure, my doctor husband there. But we release some of those feel-good chemicals when we hug people, I believe. At least that's what I have heard. And so I don't know if those are the same chemicals, but I have noticed though, and maybe you've noticed after you've been stitching for a little while, things just feel a little more right with the world, calmer. You just feel better, more satisfied. And so those are long-lasting benefits. And definitely even just like after 30 minutes of stitching, you feel that way. It's so worth it. And this is a hobby that so many of us are passionate about. Okay, got to shift around a little bit. Okay, so we're going to keep moving on across and get myself resituated here. And let's see, another benefit, I think this is the last one that I saw, improvement in cognitive, emotional, and social well-being. Okay, so let's start with cognitive. And that's more down my alley because I am a teacher by trade. And so improvement in cognitive well-being. This cross-stitching's not hard. There are things you have to learn. But it's a repetitive kind of thing. Okay, let me straighten up my floss here. It's getting a little twisted. So, you know, it's not like you're learning rocket science or anything like that. But you do have to do some thinking. It involves patterns and designs, and sometimes you substitute colors. So you're being creative. And if you're going to be creative, that's going to involve some kind of thought process. And so I think it helps in that way to keep our brains active as well. And it's a fun way to keep your brain active, just like if you work a Sudoku puzzle, or if you, some people will play word games on their iPhone or something. It's just a way to keep your brain active, mentally active. Another way is emotional. Like I said, I feel calmer while I'm stitching. After I'm stitching, or after I've been stitching, I just feel that I've calmed down. I can just let the worries of the world go away for a little while, and I can get immersed in this world that I have created for myself. I get to choose what I work on. I'm choosing my patterns. I can choose my colors. So there's a lot of individual control involved there. And I think sometimes when we're in other situations where we're getting upset, or if we get angry, a lot of that comes from fear. Fear is the driving force for a lot of that kind of stuff. And I think when we become afraid when we feel like we've lost control, or we don't have control over a situation, and it affects us in many different ways. So this is one area where you are in full control, although I don't think I'm in full control of my camera shaking right now. So hopefully this will not be a dizzying video to watch. But yeah, it just, you call shots. And so it makes it a lot nicer, and it's calming because you feel like this is something that you do have control of. And then social well-being. Well, I mean, gee, just look at FlossTube and how FlossTube has come about. And even though FlossTube has been around for several years now, I didn't come into it until just a few years ago, where I found it. Couldn't believe it when I was looking through the videos, and then I suddenly found this FlossTube. I'm like, what is this? And there's someone sitting there talking just about cross stitching, and I thought, are you kidding me? And I was so excited. And so I just started watching, and so of course now I feel like hopefully I have been able to contribute something to this lovely community. Got some awesome people in the community, and it grows all the time. We're constantly getting more people into FlossTube world and making their own FlossTube videos. You know, the really cool thing about that is that there is such a wide variety of people doing FlossTube videos. So many different types of personalities, and let me hold that phone a little bit. Yeah, that phone is shaking. So sorry. Just ways that people present their stuff, or just the ways that they do their videos, where they do their videos, and it's just I subscribe to several different ones because I just like the variety. So when people talk about, well, if you decide to do videos, the market's already saturated. One thing about FlossTube, though, it doesn't seem to matter how many people start doing FlossTube videos. It's like everybody just really enjoys it because we do like the variety. We like having a whole lot of people in there. We're like, the more the merrier is kind of how we all look at it. So it's really cool. Okay, so we're going to go back across. So I like that idea of the more the merrier, that, everybody's included, and, it's all about sharing the love of the craft and supporting each other and helping each other out if we've got questions. And so I've just found it to be such a wonderful community. And so in that respect, it's very good for your social well-being. And then if you're lucky enough to actually have local groups, or if you've got a local needle workshop and they do retreats, you can go to retreats and you can meet people there. We have our group, we have one group that is the Bluegrass Stitchers, and the lady who heads that group is Jennifer, and she has a floss tube called Stitching in the Bluegrass. And then we have a local group that is kind of a branch. It's branched off of the Bluegrass Stitchers, and it's called My Southern Porch. The lady who leads that group is Laura, and that is our Elizabethtown group. Elizabethtown is a city. We're located in central Kentucky. And so we have a stitch day, try to have one once a month. Sometimes we can't always have it every month, but we get together and we just enjoy talking and catching up and stitching. And, you've got people with like minds, and we all share this wonderful hobby together. And that's the focus of it. That's what we talk about. And we don't, there's so much, negativity out in the world right now, and people become so divisive about things. And, if you don't agree with me, I'm going to vilify you, and that kind of thing. And it just becomes very wearing. And so it's so nice to be able to relax and just enjoy time with people who share this love of the hobby. Okay. Feels like we haven't gotten very far, but we have. I mean, we're having to stitch, going straight across. We got a few rows done. We are almost finished, but like I said, what I could do is I could just finish stitching this and then show you where I got to, but I did promise that I would do this entire thing in front of you so you can see me stitch the entire cupcake. And you know what? We're almost done. Guess what? So we're here. All right. So here's what we have left. We have these 2 rows left. And then all we have is this. There is no back stitching. Even though this cupcake would look pretty cool with back stitching. There isn't any on here. So we're not going to do the back stitching. We're just going to leave it like it is. But past my 30-minute mark, so I'll try to get somewhere around close to 30 minutes for each of these. So we may just have one more, and if I have to go a little bit past 30 minutes on the next one, I will do that, just so we can go ahead and get that wrapped up, and we will be done with this cupcake. So here's where we are so far. Like I said, if you are interested in tutorials on specific things, you have questions about, well, how do you do this, or can you show us this, or how do you do this? If you want to know how I do something in a certain way, I will be more than happy to show you. So if you have tutorial ideas, please leave those ideas in the comments below. I'll be happy to address those, and I will see if either I can make a tutorial, or if I can direct you to a tutorial that will show you how to do that. And I think I am supposed to be telling you to please like and subscribe. I don't like to, ask for that. I don't mind it when other people say that in their videos. I'm used to it, so I guess I should do it too. So please like and subscribe if you have not already subscribed. I do appreciate my subscribers very much, and I hope that you have enjoyed this either as a learning tool or as a stitch along with me. And I hope that you are creative and you are wonderfully blessed, and I will see you later. Bye.